Hello, ARC family and friends. We are here today to do our very first cooking demonstration. And we have decided to use one of our recipes that's included in our activity packet. So if you have an activity packet, you will have the recipe for this activity. I'm really excited to be able to do this with you guys and talk you through it. So pull your recipe out of your activity packet if you have it, and if you don't, just follow along, and I'll try to go slowly so that you can get what you need. Before we do anything with cooking, as you know, there are some things that we need to do. Anytime we're going to touch food, what do we need to do first? We need to wash our hands. So that's what I'm going to do first. Okay, and how long am I going to wash my hands for?
20 seconds!
Oh, I have helpers in the background, and they know that I'm going to do 20 seconds. Okay, if you don't know how long 20 seconds is, all you have to do is sing happy birthday twice. But I've been doing 20 seconds for so long that I know what I need to do. Thumb, backs of your hands, knuckles, fingernails, and under the nails. Other thumb, backs of the hands, knuckles, fingernails, under the nails. Rinse really good. Okay, paper towel. Dry it off and turn off your water. Now my hands are ready for cooking. Okay, all right. If you look over here, you'll see that I have taken out everything I'm going to need for my recipe. And let's look at what we've got here. We have some milk, flour here. We have oil. This is canola oil. You can also use vegetable oil. You don't want to use olive oil. That's for another kind of cooking, not for baking. So make sure you have canola or vegetable oil. Okay. This is sugar. Okay, and I'm going to be using sugar in my recipe, but you can also use sweetener. So if you're going to use Equal or Sweet and Low or Splenda, my suggestion is using 2 packets of sweetener, and that will lessen the calories that we're going to be making with our recipe. We have some salt here. It's just regular salt in this container. We have some vanilla right here. Here's our vanilla. We have baking powder. Make sure it's powder and not soda. We don't want baking soda. Baking soda is in a box, okay? Make sure that you have powder. We have some cocoa, okay? This comes in all different brands. Cocoa is not sweet. So if you were to taste this out of the container, it would be very bitter, okay? So you don't want to eat that plain. Then I have some supplies here. I have my favorite mug. I have a fork, and I'm actually missing one thing that I'm looking for. I'm looking for my whisk right here. Okay, I have a whisk and a fork, and I have 3 measuring spoons. A tablespoon, that's the biggest. Then I have a teaspoon, and I have 1/4 teaspoon. Okay, so I like to have all my supplies and all my ingredients out and ready to do my recipe. Now I have on my phone, I have my recipe, so I'm going to pull that up. And the first step is to combine the flour, sugar, cocoa powder, and salt. So we need to find our flour here, okay, and I need 2 tablespoons of flour. So I'm going to open it up, and it says to put it in the mug, so I've got my mug right here. Here's my tablespoon, the biggest one. Now, I don't want to make my flour heaping and big and rounded like that. I want to make sure it's flat. So I'm going to tap it, might scrape it a little bit. Okay, there's my nice flat tablespoon into my mug, and I'm going to do a second one. Okay, nice and flat. There it is. Okay, into my mug. And then I need to add my sugar. And I need 1½ tablespoons of sugar. Now, if you're using sweetener, remember, I'm suggesting 2 packets, okay? 2 packets of sweetener. Okay, so I need 1½ tablespoons. So I'm going to do the same thing with this. Make it nice and flat, if I can. There we go. There's 1. And now I'm just going to estimate my half. Kind of look at it, make sure it looks kind of like half. There it is, about half, right? Okay, there's my sugar. Then I need my cocoa powder, and that says 2 teaspoons. Now be careful that you don't do tablespoons, because then it will be very bitter, okay? You want teaspoons, which is the smaller spoon right here. And we want 2 teaspoons of cocoa powder. Again, you want it nice and flat, not too much. I scrape it on the side. Tap, tap, tap. There's 1. Okay, make sure my recipe doesn't go away. And there's 2. Is that what I said? 2, right? Did I say 2? I think I did. Uh-oh, now I have to check. Because my 2 teaspoons are already in there. Yes, okay, good. And I need salt. 1 pinch of salt. Okay, so when they say a pinch, that means just a tiny, tiny little bit. You don't want your mug cake to be salty, okay? By the way, the title of our recipe, which I neglected to say, is chocolate mug cake. Okay, so I put some in my hand, and I'm not going to use all of that because that's a lot. I'm literally just going to pinch it and put it in my mug, and I'm really going to just get rid of the rest of that. Okay? Okay, so yeah, we're making chocolate mug cake. All right, so now it says combine. So we did that, and I'm going to stir it. It says whisk the flour. Now I'm going to try to use a whisk, but this is kind of a big whisk in my mug, so let's see if that works. It's okay, but if you don't have a good size whisk, a good substitute for a whisk is always a fork. And you can, there we go. Now I have more room to whisk my dry ingredients together. Okay, and you can see what that looks like so far. We're on the road to our chocolate mug cake. Okay. Then we need to stir in milk, oil, and vanilla. And you can tell that these ingredients are all similar. Milk, oil, and vanilla. These are not the dry ones, but these are the wet ones, okay? So let's do that. 2 tablespoons of milk. If you remember, a tablespoon is our biggest measuring spoon. So we need 2 of those. 1, be very careful because milk can pour out very quickly. Okay, 2 tablespoons of milk. 1 teaspoon of oil. So that's our green measuring spoon, a little bit smaller. Now yours may not be colored like mine. You might have to really look at the writing on them. Teaspoon. 1 teaspoon. Here we go. Of canola oil. Okay, and a drop of vanilla. Okay, and I'm going to use my even smaller measuring spoon, and I'm not even going to fill that up because this is just a serving for 1 person. So I'm really just going to, oh, there we go. See that tiny, tiny little bit of vanilla, just a drop, okay? So there's my vanilla, and I'm going to stir it. And I'm going to use my fork. I think that's probably going to work well, okay? There it is. We're mixing our wet ingredients and our dry ingredients. There it is. Now I used a really big mug because I wasn't sure how much room I was going to need. I feel like I'm missing an ingredient. I did not put in baking powder, and I need it. So my recipe had a mistake in it. Okay, and we need this baking powder. It's really important. If you have the recipe for the mug cake from the packet, the activity packet does not say when to put this baking powder in, okay? And I'm lucky that I discovered that. So make sure when you do your dry ingredients, your flour, cocoa, and salt, and sugar, make sure that you include, your baking powder, okay? Because this is gonna make the cake rise a little bit, okay? And I need just 1/4 teaspoon, this tiny, tiny one. And even though it's such a small amount, this is what helps the cake to rise a little bit, and it's really important. So I'm going to add that. Even though it's late, it will still be okay. But again, if you have the activity packet, that's missing, okay? So make sure you include that with your dry ingredients, and I'm going to stir that in. Scrape my fork. Okay. Now we are going to cook this. And we do not have to cook this in the oven. It's like magic. Okay? And we are going to do this in the microwave. Okay? And because it's only a serving for one person, okay, we only need to do it for a short time in the microwave. Now, I have an assistant back here, and she's going to help me put my mug in the microwave. And she is going to set the microwave for 30 seconds. Okay? So, assistant, this is my assistant right here. This is Nora, this is my daughter, and she's going to help put that in the microwave. Your microwave might be a little bit different than ours. Okay, just set it right in there. We do 3-0 and start. Okay? Now the recipe says to let the mug cake cool for 3 to 5 minutes, because when you take it out of the microwave, it's going to continue to cook just a little bit. So we're going to want to let it cool. Okay, now if you really would like to do this, you can add sprinkles on it. You can put a little chocolate syrup. Don't forget though that adds calories. Okay, so if you don't want the added calories, just eat it just like it is. Okay, and there's our mug cake. Assistant Nora, you can take that right out. Let's see what it looks like. Does it look cooked, or do we need a little longer?
I think we need a little
Let's
longer.
see. Let's take a clean fork. Let's see. We want that consistency. Now I see that it looks a little bit wet in the middle. Why don't we do? Sometimes you have to do a little bit different than what the recipe says. Let's try it for another maybe 12 seconds.
Okay.
Okay, assistant. Thank you. Now yours might be done after 30 seconds. It might be totally fine and finished after 30 seconds. But our microwave looks like it needs a little bit longer time so that it's cooked all the way through. All right. And let's see how that looks. All right. I think that looks good. Now, like the directions say, it's going to continue to cook. Okay. So, yeah, that looks better. Okay. I think that looks better. I'm going to leave it right there. I'm not going to eat it until 3 to 5 minutes are up. And then we will see how it turned out. All right, I think we've waited long enough because this looks delicious. And as you can see, I didn't really need a mug this big, but I wasn't sure. So better to have too much room than not enough room. And we're going to taste it. We didn't put anything on top of it. The calories in this recipe are 120. So just be sure that if you add anything on top that you also add those calories to it, okay? So let's see how it is. I bet it's gonna be delicious. Yum! It tastes just like warm chocolate cake. It even is a little bit thicker, like a brownie. It would be delicious with a little scoop of ice cream on top. That would be yummy. But add your calories. 120 just for this. It's delicious. You should make it. And it only took us how long? Like 15 minutes. Okay? So thank you to my assistant Nora. Thank you for your help. Thank you for watching our very first recipe for chocolate mug cake. Try it. It's delicious. 120 calories. It can be a dessert for one day. Okay? Thank you, friends and family, for watching our first video recipe demonstration. Have a great day.